Welcome back. Okay, today I'm going to talk about some really, really bad words. A word that begins with an S, a word that begins with a W. Do you know what I'm talking about? Snow and winter. Oh, they're not that bad. It's part of living in Cincinnati. We get to experience all of the seasons, which is amazing. But there are some things that you need to be thinking about when it comes to your real estate. This time of year, if you haven't already done your prep for winter, now's the time to do it. So I have a checklist today of all of the things that you should be thinking about as we move through the rest of this month. All right, let's start with inside. We want to always make sure that our HVAC, that's your heating system, is cleaned and checked. Make sure that you replace your furnace filter pretty regularly over the winter months, because it is going to help you stay a little bit healthier, because the air quality is going to be better. So keeping that air filter switched out every 30 days or whatever is recommended. If you haven't had your furnace cleaned or checked in the last year, now's the time to make that call. I'm sure that pretty much everybody, if you haven't, I don't know what you're doing, but pretty much everybody has turned on their furnace at least a few times, or at least it's on now for sure. So making sure that your furnace is cleaned and checked is going to make sure that the longevity of that unit will last longer and longer each and every year. And that's what we want too, because when it comes time to sell, most likely one of the first questions I'm going to ask you is, how old is your furnace? And when was the last time you had it cleaned and checked? Cleaning and checking the HVAC is number one. It always has been number one, and it always will be. Okay, so next step, how is your insulation? Adding insulation in your attic, maybe adding insulation in your walls, can absolutely help with keeping that heat on the inside of your home, keeping your home feel just a lot warmer. So insulation in your attics, basements, crawl spaces can prevent heat loss, which makes sense. Using draft stoppers on your doors and windows can also keep that cold air out. So a draft stopper, I've seen these people that have like these little snakes that run along the bottom of a door. So if you have a room that you don't go into very often, or maybe it's a sunroom, a 3-season room, and you don't have a real tight air gap between that room and the rest of your home, adding some sort of a sealant, even if it's one of those little snakes, and that will help some of those drafts or the colder areas of your home into the warmer areas of your home. I've seen some people that will have those along pretty much every door just to keep that airflow cut off during the winter months. When talking about windows and doors, let's talk about windows and doors. You want to make sure that those gaps are sealed. Now, again, it may be a little bit late for you to get caulk out and start caulking around your windows and doors. You can add weather stripping. That's something that you can do, but you have to have a certain temperature in order for that caulk to clear, to be able to get hard and do what it's supposed to do. So definitely keeping your windows, and if you see light, that means the cold air is going to get in. So especially if you at night, if you look at your front door, or maybe there's a time of day where you can see where the light comes into your front door and you see light around the edges, you definitely want to make sure that you get something to seal that gap and keep that cold air from coming in. Another thing that you can take a minute and think about is, when was the last time you checked your emergency systems inside of your home, your smoke alarms, your carbon monoxide detectors? Do you have a carbon monoxide detector in your home? A smoke detector, obviously, most of us will have smoke detectors in the hallways of our home, leading into bedrooms in the main hallways. There's a certain number of smoke detectors that are code that you are supposed to have in your home. The code has changed over the years. So if you are getting a home inspection been done. The home inspector may say you have to have a smoke detector in every single bedroom and in the hallway. You may say, well, that sounds like overkill, but it's really not, because it's that warning system in case of an emergency. And a lot of the smoke detectors now, you can double up and you can have a smoke detector / carbon monoxide detector in one unit. One of the other things let's talk about, okay, this is number 6 on our list if you're following along, is insulating the pipes in the unheated areas to prevent freezing. So you definitely want to, if you haven't yet, I'm going to strongly recommend that you make sure that all of your hoses outside are disconnected. If you have a shutoff as well inside of your home, on the backside inside wall of your home, a shutoff for that outside spigot, go ahead and make sure that's off as well. Making sure that all of your pipes, if it's on an outside wall, those are the pipes that you want to be really conscious of and taking a look at. Let your faucets, if it's super cold, and we'll probably talk about that in the coming months. I don't want to talk about it, but if we get down to the negative whatever degrees, we know that some faucets are better off dripping a little bit so that you're constantly having a little bit of flow in there, but we don't need that right now. The next thing that you should be doing is, and it's not my favorite thing in the whole wide world, is cleaning. I don't love cleaning, but cleaning and dusting your heating vents, making sure all of the vents and registers are cleaned. You can take the registers off on the floor and vacuum inside of there. You'll see pet hair, you'll see dust, you'll see debris sometimes. Sometimes if you haven't taken, and it's not that difficult to take a register vent on the floor off, it just usually just pops right up. If you take that off, look inside. If you've never done that, you might be surprised what you find. So you want to make sure those are cleaned out. So those are like the top 7 things that you can do inside of your home to get ready for winter.